Well, the objective condition on the international scene is that you have, this imperial construct led by the United States and NATO as a military organization on one side, and a doctrine that it holds and has held now for some 20 years that no competitor will be allowed to rise on the world stage. Now, this is something that developed in the wake of the dismantling of the Warsaw Pact and of the Soviet Union itself. And objectively, things on the ground have changed from then, when the United States was the preeminent economy and the only global superpower militarily, and had pretty much absolute control of the global currency activity, and no real rival on the horizon. In the intervening 20-some-odd years since the doctrine was first announced, China has risen as an economic power. Russia has come back as an economic power, maintained its nuclear weaponry, and has been upgrading its military. At the same time that the United States has been advancing towards Russia physically in terms of placement of military resources. They are now parked at the borders of Russia from the Baltics up in the Baltic Sea, the very northwest corner of Russia, down to, one could say, the middle of Ukraine at this point, in the southwest part of Russia, and in the Pacific theater across from the Arctic Circle down into the Sakhalin Islands by Japan. So and the United States has been committing some very hostile acts towards Russia, attempting to tank its currency, attempting to isolate it economically in general. And Russia has, in turn, been looking elsewhere to find partners for the development that it seeks for its own, for its own population. The same time that the United States has made these moves, the Obama administration made its famous pivot to Asia, which saw support by the U.S. for the rise of China as a military, Japan, for the rise of Japan as a military power for the first time since World War II, in direct contravention of the Japanese Constitution that was imposed by the United States at the end of the Second World War, and other moves by the U.S. to attempt to, quote-unquote, contain China. And this makes a natural alliance between those two. In addition, various economic acts of hegemony or attempted hegemony have created, first saw the rise of this construct called the BRICS countries, with Brazil, the largest economy in the Western Hemisphere besides the United States, Russia, India, which has a population of about 1 billion people and a rapidly rising economy, China, which is any minute going to be the largest economy on the planet, and South Africa, which is the second largest economy, I believe, in Africa, rising and a very wealthy country potentially. This group has begun a project of economic integration, and now there's a unity of interest militarily between Russia and China, with the United States threatening both. So you have the creation, essentially, of a hostile camp just by these competitors, potential competitors, rising in the world against the doctrine of the United States that no such activity will be permitted, and nuclear weapons on either side. Historically, that has been the precondition for war. And we have seen between the United States and Russia, or the predecessor Soviet Union, several incidents that Chomsky cited in his interview with Sophie Shevardnadze at RT, that we've almost had it. The Cuban Missile Crisis, there were several accidental almost launches, one with the Soviet Union seeing what looked like a launch from the United States, and a very level-headed functionary in the Soviet Army disobeying his training and orders, not launching, and that saved humanity. And there were similar accidents on this side as well. As tensions rise, as the law of unintended consequences has greater and greater play, and as as Chomsky cited, the low risk individual incidents of accidental war keeps playing as you keep rolling the dice. Sooner or later, you get 7 or 11, and that's the end of humanity. The stakes are extremely high. The ironic part is that President Barack Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize at the beginning of his presidency because he had spoken to the need to eliminate nuclear weapons, and he is now spending what's going to end up being $1 trillion over the next 30 years, but hundreds of billions of dollars in the near term to upgrade and expand the power of the American nuclear arsenal. So it's a very dangerous time, and I believe Chomsky has that nailed. And it is something that should be at the top of every activist's to-do list in the United States and anywhere else in the world, because everyone is really in the sights of these weapons.